Hey, what's up and welcome back to the channel Design with Cracker. If you're an Oxygen Builder user, you probably wish you could bypass the header builder element and just build your own header just like this with overlay and sticky. And of course you can turn off the overlay. For instance, here I go here and just add something, save, I can refresh and I turn off the overlay and I still have the sticky. And I can turn off the sticky, I can add something there to turn off that through, and then I won't have a sticky header. So yeah, you really wish that maybe you could build something like this, using a custom header. Now this is because the Oxygen Builder header, though packed with some features, locks you in with 3 unmovable, uneditable columns. Like you can't move them, you can't change their sizes, and people don't like this. Problem is, a lot of people still need the built-in overlay and sticky functionality of the header builder, so they feel they have no choice but to stick to it. Well, have you ever wished you could do away with the header builder and make your own custom header with most of the functionality? Well, you're in luck, because we're going to do just that. First of all, we're going to start off from where we left off in our previous tutorial. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you check it out, how to set up its centered logo in Oxygen with one WordPress menu. We had a header set up like this, and what we want to achieve is set up a sticky header and overlay header. Okay, so in my own case, I want to have a multi-row header. I want to have 2 rows. Okay, so I can decide which one I want to use for the sticky and which one I want to use for the normal header and the overlay header, because in some cases you want to make your sticky header look different from the main header. So I want to have 2 rows. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this, okay, and for this I'm just going to change this, the name. I want to call this header. Alright, and then I want to change this to header row 1. Okay, and then I'm going to change this to header row 2. Okay, now for this we're going to start with this. We already had a class here called header wrapper. I'm going to take off that class, then I'm going to call this header. Then I'm going to change the ID to header, and then I'm also going to add a class to it called header. Then I'm going to go here and then I'm going to remove the class of header from here. Okay, and I'm also going to remove a class of header from here. So we had header on both of that previously, so I'm going to take it off. So what we're going to have here is just header row. Okay, alright, so that's what we're going to have there, and that header row is going to have a width of 100%. Now I already have that class here in this install, so that width is applied, and then it's gonna, of course, the position is relative because we are using absolute position logo here. Okay, from our previous tutorial, so that is why we had to set that to relative. I'm gonna give this the same header row class. Okay, alright, and yeah, so that's just it. Now our header was made from a section, so you want to make sure for accessibility purpose, you want to make sure you change the tag to header. That's what we did not do in the previous tutorial. So then I'm gonna add a background color to it. Okay, temporarily, we're gonna change that to something more dynamic. Okay, and I think we're having a bit of a problem here, and that's because here we have a menu, which what we had here was split menu. Okay, but now we have another menu because we've duplicated this, and then we don't have that class. The CSS that we used in the previous tutorial is not applying, so I'm just gonna quickly change this to split menu 2. Okay, I mean you can't have the same ID for both elements, so I'm gonna call it 2. And then I'm going to go to that code that we did for the split menu. Okay, and then I'm going to add okay, one thing is we duplicated this, and so we have 2 of these split menus. So I'm going to, that menu code, I'm going to move that into the header. Okay, and then I'm going to go into there, and then I'm just going to copy this. Okay, so I'm just gonna add underscore 2. Yep, so that was it. Split menu underscore 2. Yep, so I'm gonna do the same here. So split menu underscore 2. I'm gonna put comma there. Li. So nothing is happening. Why? Split underscore menu underscore. Oh, yeah, it was split. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna do the same here. Just gonna do the same here. So I want to apply that style to both menu. Okay. All right, so we have we're done with the menu. Okay, so now we have two header rows, and what I want to do is to set, this is what I'm going to use as my sticky header. So I'm going to go to that row and add an attribute. Okay, I'm going to call it data sticky header. Now if you want to use just one header row, okay, for this custom header, you probably will not need this, you know, and also any CSS that has this, you will not need it. Okay, so I will explain as I go along. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a code block, okay, that we're going to use for our header. So I'm just going to go in and add a code block. Okay, so let's just move that, and then I'm going to rename it to sticky/overlay code. Okay, now I'm going to open that up. Okay, now the first thing I want to do is that we want the header row, okay, the header row 2, we want it to be visible only when it is sticky. Okay, and then we want to all our code to apply at a breakpoint above 768 pixels. So we're going to wrap what we're going to do with a media query. All right, so let me just wrap media minimum width, okay, 768 pixels. All right, and first we want to hide the sticky header. Okay, so I just want to comment that hide sticky row by default. All right, so let's do that. So we have a header class, okay, and we have a header row class, and then that header row class, it is the sticky class that has the attributes of data sticky header. All right, and then we want to, what we're going to do is, there are different ways you could do display none. You could do what I want to do is I want to translate it. Okay, I want to translate y. So we want to move it negative 500%. Okay. Okay. It should be moving. Transform translate header dot header row. Okay. So let's check. Be sure that, yeah, data sticky header. So why is it not working? Data sticky header. Transform translate negative 500. Okay. Okay, so all right. Okay, look at that. So I used those braces. Instead of using the braces, I used something else there. All right, so I'm just gonna move this in. So let me take out this media query. For some reason, I'm not having the result. Now it seems that transform translate is giving issues. So I'm just gonna use display. Okay, none. And let me quickly go into the PHP and just comment this out. All right. So let's save that. Check how it looks. Okay, so I think this looks good. Okay, so we don't have two of them, even though two of them are still showing inside the builder. So now, well, another thing we want to do is to unhide it. Okay, unhide when sticky. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna just do that header row. Okay, data sticky header. All right. Okay, so display. I think I'm just gonna unset it. Okay, let's just use unset, and let's see. Now this is gonna be header.sticky. Okay, all right. So let's see what it's gonna look like. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna refresh, and then I'm gonna go to the header. Okay, with the header class, and also I'm gonna add a class of sticky. So let's just see. All right, so it brings it back, which is good. All right, so once it is sticky, it comes back, and once we take that class, sticky class, out, it goes out. So that's good. All right. Okay, now we're done with the basic structure of the header. So what we're going to do is just to set up values that we're going to use for the sticky header and overlay header functionalities. These values will be used in both CSS and JavaScript. So we're going to create CSS variables for specific properties. Okay, so what I want to do now is I'm going to start creating the CSS variable. Okay, let's expand this. The first variable we're going to create is, now we're going to create variables for things that we might need, you know, because we need this to be adjustable easily. So I'm gonna start with roots. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna start with the header height, auto. So for starters, then the header BG color. So we're gonna do header BG color. So I'm just going to start by giving it maybe something like 3651, okay, and then we're going to have the hero top padding. Now in doing overlay headers, sometimes the hero section, you know, is pulled up because the overlay header is makes the header position absolutely. Okay, so it's gonna pull up the header section, so you want to offset that with a value, and we're anticipating something like that. So that's why we have that. So now the sticky height. So what to control the height of your sticky header? So I'm just going to leave it at 80 pixel, and then you have the sticky background color. Okay, let's just make that purple. Then we're going to have the sticky shadow. Okay. And that I'm just gonna make it 0 pixel, 5 pixel, 20 pixel blur, and then the spread, just make it negative 10 pixel, and we're just gonna make it RGBA. Now you can use it if you want to set this. You can use the oxygen shadow effect, and then you just go to inspect element and copy the values and paste here to replace, or you could replace it with anything you want. Okay, all right, then the next thing we want to do is, now we want to create a variable for the scroll distance. So the distance we want our header, okay, to scroll before the the sticky header kicks in. So that's what we call the scroll distance. We're also going to do some animation if you want, optional. So we're going to have an animation name. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put slide. Okay, I want to have two types of animation, so I'm going to have fade or slide. All right. I'm going to have, but I want slide as the default, and then I'm going to have my animation duration. Okay, I'm just going to set it to ease for now. You could use different types. I'm going to have the overlay header. Now I want to have this property, custom property, to set, and we're going to be targeting this with JavaScript, okay, to set whether this is whether the overlay header should be, you know, activated or not. So we're going to set this to true or false. Okay, all right, and then we're going to also do sticky header. So we're going to use this property to check, you know, whether we want a sticky header or not. So that is it. So we have created all our variables. I hope we didn't miss out anything. So we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. Okay, so we don't have a, yeah, sorry, I mistakenly put this is here. Okay, so animation duration, so I'm just gonna make that 0.6. Then the animation is easing. Okay, I'm just gonna make that ease. So yeah, so we have that. Now the next thing we're gonna do is to set the transition for a header. Okay, so let's just say header. Now the height of the header, okay, let's just give it a height. So we're gonna give it var header height. All right, and then we're gonna give it a transition, which will be the height. We want to do transition on the height. 1 second is. Now that is, if we want to change it, we can easily animate it. Okay, so we want to set things in place that will, you know, we can always use. Now we have this query. We're going to place the remaining code inside here. So what I want to do is to set the property for the overlay header. So so I'm just going to say header. Now once we apply the overlay class to the header, what do we want to happen? You know, what's the property? So we're setting the property for the overlay header. So the overlay header will be positioned absolute. Okay, and then top will be 0. Okay, and then the background color, now for that will be transparent because it's overlay, so it has to be transparent. So that is for the overlay property. Okay, so I'm just gonna call that overlay property. All right, now the next one is gonna be the sticky. Let's see, yeah, let's say, okay, we talked about the hero section. Okay, now let me show you something. Let's save this and look at the front end. So we have this. Now imagine that we have this header, and then we have this the header, which header row. Okay, yeah, so we have this header. Now this is not there, this is display none. Okay, so it's not available. So we have this header row, or let's say we have this header, sorry. Now we want to set this header to position absolute. Okay, background transparent, and then that should be background color, but let's just go with that, and then of course top 0. Now you see what is happening here, that when we set this to position absolute, the hero section, you know, moves in. Okay, because this absolute position takes the header out of the normal document flow, you know, so allowing the hero section. So we want to offset that the padding, top padding of the hero section. Okay, padding top. So you want to offset it with that variable. So let's just see how that variable works here. Var hero top padding. Okay, so we have, so you see that what happens now. So that is that's what we're going to do. Okay, so once it has an overlay, we want to automatically apply that top padding to the hero section. Okay, so let's just let's refresh this to what it was. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say has overlay. Now we're gonna, once the body, okay, has the overlay class, we're gonna assign this class to the body, okay, with JavaScript, and we're saying if it has overlay, target the hero section. Now this is the body class, this is what we're going to put to the body, okay, and then we're going to target the hero section, and we're going to say padding top. We're going to use that variable, okay, hero top padding. Okay, all right, let's be sure that's it, hero top padding. All right, so you can easily just change that value from here. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just applying an offset. Okay, so offset top padding for overlay hero section. Okay, all right, so now we're using, take note, I'm using the ID. So you're going to give your hero section the ID of, I don't want anything to interfere, I don't want to use class, I want to give it, use the ID to override any class styling on the class. Okay, now so yeah, I'm going to set the sticky header properties. Okay, now what do we want that sticky header to be like? Okay, what properties are we going to assign to an element that has the sticky class? So sticky header properties. All right, so now when we apply a class of sticky to our header, we're going to have this selector header.sticky. Okay, now what property do we want? First of all, it's going to be position position fixed. Okay, remember in a layout technique I told you that ironically that the sticky header uses the fixed position, and we're going to make it top 0. Okay, and then the background color is going to be the variable var sticky background. Okay, so we already have a sticky background, sticky BG color. So now I really wish I was using you know, tools like Recoder Workspace. All this would have been suggested and I will be typing faster. Okay, and then the height is gonna be var sticky height. Okay, and what else? The box shadow. Yeah, so the sticky header usually has a box shadow. All right, so I'm just gonna give it that sticky shadow. All right, so we had that sticky shadow, did we? All right, so we have the sticky shadow. Yep. Okay, now we want to animate it in. Okay, now the animation usually comes with animation, then the name, okay, then duration, and also the easing function. Okay, so what I'm going to use in place of name is just going to be var animation name. We've already set it up here. Okay, animation name, animation duration, and animation easing. So here we're going to have var animation duration. Okay, all right, I hope I get the spelling right. And then in this one we're going to have the animation easing. Okay, so it's going to be var, just paste that in. Okay, all right, so let me save what we've done so far before we continue. So while I was preparing for this tutorial, I encountered a couple of challenges, and one of them was, you know, when we have a sticky header, if you're not using an overlay header. Now when it wants to kick in, okay, sometimes you have this this jerk, okay. So one of the ways I overcame that was by adding a body sticky class, okay. I mean by adding a class to the body, okay. So the body will have a class. Now when the header receives the sticky class, the body will also receive has sticky class, okay. And then what I'm going to do there, of course you can use that to do a lot of things when there's a sticky header. So what I'm going to do there is to give it a margin top, okay, of variable. Now the body will get a margin top of var sticky height, okay. Now this is not going to be here by default, so what I'm going to say is I'm going to comment this, okay. I'm going to comment this out because that shouldn't happen by default. All right, so what I'm going to say here is that so you're going to use this only if the scroll distance is greater than, okay, or equal to the header height, okay. Then don't use in overlay header. Now if you're using overlay header, don't use this, okay. So this is just like a fail safe. All right, so we just have this in case we need it. We probably wouldn't need it depending on how we set our, you know, our sticky header height, etc. So let's just have that as a fail safe. Now what I want to do is I want to do some settings for the logo, you know, the sticky header logo. So let's say initial. So what I want is to set the initial logo size for sticky header, just in case we need to animate it, okay. So how we're going to do that is we're just going to set the header row, okay, the data attribute, data sticky header. See, remember the header row that has that attribute, you know, is what we're going to use for our sticky header. Okay, so the logo, let's give it a width of, let's say 80 pixel. All right, and then we're going to give it a transition, and then that transition will be on the width, okay. Just give it a 1 second transition. All right, then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set the logo, okay, the logo size for sticky. All right, so the logo size for the sticky logo, what we're going to do is just say sticky logo. So we change the width to, let's say 50 pixel. Okay, and then I'm going to define the animation, okay. So let's define the animation. Okay, now we said we're going to do two animations, fade or slide. So we have already called the animation name here, the animation duration, and the ease. So let's just define the animation at keyframes. Okay, now we're going to do the first one, fade. So we're going to do from, okay, opacity 0, okay, to opacity 1. So that is simple. That is just a fade animation. You could do some more. Well, it's a header, it's a sticky header, no need for anything complex. At keyframes, slide. So that's the next one. From transform, okay, translate y negative 100 pixel. All right, Okay, you could change that value to 100% depending. To translate y 0. Okay, so that's just about it for the CSS. So I'm going to save this and just check at the front end to make sure that nothing is broken as a result of error in the code. So okay, everything looks okay. All right, so let's see. We have to test before we go ahead and start writing JavaScript. So let me do this. So I have this header. Okay, so if I assign a class of overlay to it, what happens? Okay, all right, so we see it's overlaying. Okay, now if I go to the body and apply a class of has overlay, we want to see if it's going to affect the, so we have a body has overlay and a hero section. The hero section doesn't have an ID of hero, so you see the importance of doing that. So I'm just going to change that ID here to hero. All right, let's just refresh. Something is not okay. All right, so it has the hero. This is hero, the hero ID. Okay, so let's go back to the header and add a class of overlay. Okay, so you see it's now overlay, so we add a class of has overlay to the body. So you see automatically that shifts. Okay, now if we go to the header, okay, that was if we go here, you see this is hidden. Now if I scroll and if I add a class of sticky, okay, to the header, so you see a sticky header comes up. All right, see, it comes up. Okay, and all right, okay, so a sticky header comes up, and then of course let's take away the class for the overlay. Okay, all right, so that means when we have the sticky header, the overlay header will be hidden. Okay, so what we want to do is to say sticky, and when the sticky header is active, the overlay header will be hidden. So how do we do that? So I'm going to go to style here. I'm going to say dot header dot sticky. Okay, then header row not, okay, and we will not data sticky header. Okay, let's say display none. So how to write that? Okay, so header row. So which one are we looking at? So we need to, I need to see which one is being affected here. Okay, so this is the one that is being affected. Okay, all right, so okay, all right, so let's just continue. So I'm going to add that CSS. Okay, I'm going to add that CSS to but I would like to really target that that specific, you know, that specific this specific element. Okay, I'd really like to target it, so I won't but let's put that we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that later. So let me find a way to put that. Okay, so that's still under right under sticky header. So header.sticky.header row. Okay. All right, so I think I quickly looked up that how to write that CSS. Okay, so it's actually not. Then you put that in in brackets. Okay, then you say not header row. Okay, because I really want to target that one. I don't want to mistakenly hide the sticky header. Not header row that has an attribute of data sticky header. All right, so I'm gonna test that here. All right, so that's cool. Okay, so that works. So I'm just gonna save that. So the next thing we're gonna do is write a JavaScript and see if this all works. But before we do that, if you've enjoyed this video so far, I'd like you to consider hitting that like button. It helps the channel grow and makes me happy. All right, so just give me a little bit of a reward. Okay, if you like what I'm doing, hit the like button, please. Thank you very much. Now let's go to the JavaScript. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just to save time. Okay, I'm just going to be putting them one after the other. Okay, so everything will be inside here. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is to declare a variable. So I'm going to declare the constant header. I'm going to declare header row. Okay, I'm going to declare body. All right, okay, so this will be document.query or query selector. Okay, so I'm going to select the header. Okay, comma, and then this will be document.query select. So I'm just going to copy this, and then I'm going to select the header row, and then of course this will be document.body. So just select the body. Now the next thing we want to do is to check, start checking for stuff. Okay, first we want to check if the set overlay header, we want to create a variable, that will check this the value of this, the value of overlay header. Okay, is it true? Okay, so that's what we want to do. So I'm gonna create a variable. I'm gonna call it check overlay. All right, and what we want is we want it to get computed style. Okay, in the document. Okay, dot document element. So this is like the method that you use. Dot get property value. So we wanted to get the value of this overlay header. So we wanted to get the value of this custom variable, custom property. Okay, so if that value is true, we're going to use it to decide if we're going to add an overlay header or not. So we're going to check. Okay, check for scroll action. Okay, window.event listener, sorry, add event listener. So we're going to scroll, listen for a scroll. Okay, we're going to create a variable. So we're going to say scroll distance. So we're going to, now what are we going to do? So the variable will get the value of this scroll distance. Okay, So I'm just going to copy this and paste there, and just change this to scroll distance. Okay, so scroll distance will get that that property. All right, then we're gonna check for sticky. Okay, and that will be get computed value sticky header. So it's gonna check for, this is header. All right, this is supposed to be header. All right, so it's gonna check for the sticky header value. Okay, and then we're gonna add class if the scroll distance is less than the window scroll height and that sticky header, and if the sticky header is true. Okay, all right, so what we'll do is, so we're going to say header. Now we're going to add it to the header. We're going to add a class to the header, header.class list, okay, .toggle. Don't worry, this code is going to be available for everyone. Now I'm going through, I just want to just give an idea in case you want to come and change something. You would know, okay, this is why we're doing this, so you can come in here and change something. I just didn't want to paste the code and just leave it like that. Now, so we're going to add a class. We're going to toggle class, okay. We're going to toggle sticky, okay. But it's going to be based on a condition that window dot scroll y is greater than scroll distance. And now this is the condition. The condition that we want to toggle this class is if the windows, that's the window dot scroll y is greater than the scroll distance. Okay, the distance that you scroll, if it is greater than the distance, the scroll distance that we defined there, and if the check sticky, okay, is true. So we want to be sure that, okay, sticky header is set to true. All right, so these conditions have to be met before we add that class. And we're going to also add class to the body, okay, and then we're going to add the has sticky class on the condition that windows.scroll y. Now I'm going to just copy this. I can change the values. Okay, copy that. So on the condition that windows.scroll y is also greater, so we have basically the same condition. Okay, so and the sticky header is true, so that is it. So we are ending that scroll action here. All right, okay, so let's save this, hoping it doesn't throw an error. So I'm gonna refresh this and let's see. Okay, now let's check the header. So nothing is happening here, so we have an error here. It says okay, so event listener, we spelled it wrong. Okay, so add event listener. So where is it? Listen. All right, so that was a wrong spelling, so we're going to refresh it again, and let's see. Now we have a header here. I want to scroll and see if, so nothing is working. Okay, so problem here, scroll. All right, let's see, refresh that. All right, let's see if we scroll. Okay, that works. Okay, so don't worry about this. We're going to adjust our sticky header. All right, so that works. So you can see that once we scroll, it adds the class has sticky, okay, and also adds the class sticky to the header. And we go back, it removes those classes. All right, so the next thing we are going to do is, so let's move this here in scroll. What about the the overlay? So what we're going to do is we're going to check, okay, check if the overlay header, that property is set to true, and then we add the class, or else remove the class. So so we're going to say if, okay, if check overlay is equals true. Okay, so we're going to say header dot class list, okay, dot add. So we're going to add a class of overlay to the header. Okay, we're also going to add a class to the body dot class list dot add. What we're going to add there is that it has overlay. Okay, and then of course just else. Okay, okay, else header dot class list dot remove. So we're going to remove it if it doesn't have that you know, if the overlay is not set to true. Okay, so we're also going to remove that from the body. So remove the has overlay from the body. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to refresh this. So it has overlay, so automatically everything adjusts. Okay, and then if I go to that that has overlay and then just alter that true, I like adding just something there, and if I refresh here, you see we are not having the overlay header. And if I change something here, it's no longer true. We're also not having the sticky header. Okay, so I'm just going to undo both of that. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to undo just the sticky, and I don't want the overlay header for now. So let's go in and see what we can do to our sticky. Okay, so the sticky header. All right, so why is it like this? Why is it like this? So header.sticky, we have that, we have the header height. Okay, so our header height is interfering the sticky height. Okay, so our sticky height is too small. Okay, so you can see our animation takes effect. Okay, so our sticky height is too small. We want it to be smaller. Okay, so what we need to do is to also we need to adjust the element for the sticky header to make it, you know, fit into where we have. So we still have a lot of empty spaces here. Okay, so the sticky, let's try to give it a padding top. Okay, a padding top of 0. Okay, that works. And okay, and then we want to give the logo. So let's go into this style sheet. So I'm just going to say sticky dot logo. Okay, width 50 pixel. Let's make it smaller, so it's not affecting anything. Okay, so let's add the header class. Okay, so adding the header class, you know, does it. So we've already set that inside our style sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and set our header.sticky. Okay, so we go here and go to header.sticky, and we're going to set the padding top to 0, and then the sticky logo, we're just going to add that class. Okay, save that, and let's refresh that and then come. Why? What did we do? Okay, a simple that we did not put there broke everything. So please, I would like to know if you like this, the way I'm doing it like this, you know, having to write the code, okay, while you're watching, or would you prefer I just paste the whole code and and just say this is it, guys, just copy this code and paste, you know? Or do you like it when I write the code and try to explain why I'm doing it, what it does? So let me know. So if you would prefer me to paste the code and that's it, just make sure everything is working and just paste it and give it to you. But if you like it that I have to take time to write the code and try to talk through the process, let me know which one you prefer and I'll oblige you. Okay. So now, okay, that looks good. So so you could adjust different things. Okay. So there are other things that I adjusted. Okay. Let me just see if I can bring that here. Let me paste this. So you can see I has sticky. Okay. So let me remove this. So sticky.split menu. Okay. I changed the padding of the menu items, okay, to see the padding of the menu items. I changed it, you know, to 0.5. So to top padding, okay. So the top padding, I changed it to 0.5 rem. So it moves it a little bit upwards, okay. So and then for this, okay, I think that is better that it's not there. So that is even worse, okay. So I'm just going to take only this and then I'm going to put it inside my code, okay. So I'm adjusting stuff, okay. All right, so we have the sticky header. Now if I go in and change the animation, so all I need to do is, if I want to change the animation, I could just go in and say fade. Don't slide, just fade, okay. And then when I refresh here, see it fades in. Now I can change the scroll distance, okay, to let's say 400. And I mean when I'm scrolling up to about 400 before it comes in. Now see what happens here. See that jerk? See that jerk that I was talking about? Now that is as a result of this getting out of the way, okay, because that we set that to go away when the sticky header comes in, okay. Now 2 ways we can do that is, now we can either take that out, okay. So if you don't want to have the overlay, okay, you can take that out. So let's see, what did we do there? So I'm gonna just remove this. Now if you're not gonna have the overlay, see, it's still a problem, so we need to leave that. Now what I did here was, remember what I said, the body has sticky. Now I'm going to activate this, okay. Let me just, so I'm going to give it a margin top of the sticky height, okay. So now if the body has sticky, once the sticky class is applied, it's going to offset, okay. It's not offsetting. So does the sticky header have a height? So let's see. Okay, yeah, the height is sticky height. Are we sure it's a sticky height? No, it should offset it the height of. All right, so what I want to do is the body. All right, let's see, why is it not working? Body.has sticky. Okay, but let's try something. Let's check header height. So I want to see, it really doesn't make any difference. Let's see, let's just say 80 pixel. Okay. Let's say, okay, 100 pixel. All right, so you can see that it's it has to do with the height. Let's see, so what was our sticky height? We had 80, so why don't we change that to 100 and see what is gonna happen. Let's see. So I think what happens here is that the header height you know, takes into consideration the this plus 16, okay, padding, the main height, the padding is 16, so we have 100. So let me see, if I have my padding, so this is supposed to be sticky height. Let's see. Let's take that back to sticky height. All right, I think that works. So that looks okay. Maybe a slight jerk, but overall it looks good. I think it looks good. It's okay. So we're gonna take that back to what do we call it? Sticky height. Okay. So but so you get the idea. All right. Then of course, if we want a sticky height to be smaller, I guess we could still take it down to make it 80 and see. All right, so it's still smooth, no unnecessary jerking. Okay. Okay. All right. I think that does it. I think we're done with this tutorial. Let's just see. So if I want to turn on the overlay, all right. So I have my overlay header. Okay. And then if I want my animation to be slide, okay, can do that. Slide. If I want to change the background color of my the background color of the sticky header, can do that here. Okay. Right. If I want to change the background color of black, okay, and then I'm going to turn off that's the background color of the header, but I'm turning off the overlay header so I can see the background. All right, so okay, so we have that black, but the problem here is we already had a color set here, so I'm just going to take that off, and then I'm going to use var header bg color. Okay. All right. So that's it. So we have that header background color. Okay. So depending on what we want to change that background color to, so if I want to change it to brown, okay, and then this one I want to change it to green. So you can see you have your brown and you have your green. Okay, so a quick one. Now I've gone ahead to refresh this, and you can see that we have just one header, not two as we was stacked. Okay, so just refreshing it will solve that. And another thing is, what if you wanted your sticky header to animate? Remember, we had our initial logo size as as 80 pixel, and then we had the sticky size, so we expected it to animate in. Now because we're setting this, okay, we're setting this to display none, okay, and it's not going to animate because it's display none. So if we change this to, let me just say, I change that to, instead of display none, I change it to, let's arrange that code. I change it to transform translate -500, and then I change it to transform translate 0 on sticky. Okay, now you see we have a space here, and we can change the header height to say maybe 120 pixel. Okay, and that should take care of that space. And then now, because it is still visible, okay, I mean it's not visible on the page, but it's still present. Okay, it's not display none. Now we go here to refresh. You can see that value animates in, and even the header animates. Okay, so now you could go ahead to do something with this header. You could change the padding top. You could change it to, let's say, 0, and see what happens. So you can see that you can make that adjustment. Okay, and you still have your animation. So all I did there was to, instead of using display none and display on set, I used transform translate -500% and transform translate 0, translate Y. Okay, so that enables that animation to work. So that's just one of the tips I wanted to quickly point out. Okay guys, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, drop them below. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up, drop a comment. Let me know what you think. I want to let you know there are more possibilities. Okay, you can create multi-row header. In future tutorials, I'm going to expand on the header builder tutorial. I'm going to look at the possibility of having multiple rows, hiding some on sticky, showing some on sticky, hiding some on overlay, switching them. For now, what we have is we have this assigned to sticky, and we have this assigned to the normal header and overlay. But in the future, we're going to take a look at how we can swap the position just by just by changing something like this, or changing an attribute, and the positions will be swapped. Okay, so stay tuned on the channel. Hit the like button, hit the like button, and hit the like button 3 times, not 2 times, once or thrice. Okay, drop a comment, let me know what you think. Okay, say something in the comment section. I want to know what you think. Let me know if I should continue with this style, or if I should just copy the code and paste. Okay, have a great day.